I was truly a housewife in my marriage. I didn't worry about bills, but now it's time for me to tie up some loose ends and make a decision on what my future looks like.
Kelli's conversation with Johnny on The Real Housewives of Atlanta revealed a side of her life that viewers do not often get to see. Unlike many of the scenes that revolve around disagreements, tension, and cast drama, this moment focused on something much more personal and relatable. It was about navigating life after major changes, dealing with financial realities, rebuilding after a divorce, and learning how to move forward when circumstances are no longer the same as they once were.
There she is. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Johnny? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
All right, Miss Farrell.
You can call me Potter.
Potter, Miss Potter, excuse me.
Thank you.
All right, so today we're gonna have a hard conversation about your budget. We're gonna talk about your finances. So let's start with the basics. How much you think you're bringing in per month?
The Nana's McDonough location roughly brings in, I would say, about $75,000.
Okay.
And then we have Nana Sandy Springs that just opened. Ooh, child. Let's just say maybe $15,000.
Okay.
That would be at a high number. I meeting with a financial planner today because I need to figure out what my next steps look like. The last 2 restaurants that I've had made money out the door. So seeing the Sandy Springs numbers definitely scare me.
I promise I won't judge, but let's figure out exactly what's coming out of the bank account.
I wasn't expecting all of this.
I'm in your business right now.
It's okay.
Let's talk about your car payment first.
My Range Rover car payment is about $2,000. Insurance is maybe $600.
Let's talk about beauty and makeup.
Is that including the lashes or not the lashes?
Let's include lashes.
$2,500.
What about hair? Let's start around $1,500 a month. Do you think it's more or less?
More.
More? All right, let's say $3,000 a month. What's your shopping bill look like per month? Let's start with clothes. Would you say that you spend more or less than $5,000 a month on clothes? More or less than $7,000 a month on clothes?
Let's just do 8.5. Do 8.5.
Okay. We're at $22,000 per month.
Ooh.
Now,
I was truly a housewife in my marriage. I didn't worry about bills. I didn't know how to make a car payment. I've never had to figure out anything when it came to debt because I really haven't had any. But now it's time for me to tie up some loose ends and make a decision on what my future looks like.
So the hard conversation that we need to have now is what we can pull back on. For instance, you have a housekeeper. You have Cha-Cha.
And now she's telling me to get rid of the dog.
Well, some of the expenses that are attached to them.
So many people talk about, oh, entrepreneur, you can be this and you can be that. But what do you do when it fails? Maybe your purpose wasn't the business. Maybe your purpose was to show what it's like to restart your life over. And I received that.
What's something else?
You sure are an aggressive man.
I've been told. But right now, it's okay. I'm not your friend. I'm your accountant.
Heard. All right.
One thing that really stood out during Kelli's conversation with Johnny on The Real Housewives of Atlanta is how it exposed a side of life that many people experience but rarely talk about openly. From the outside looking in, it is easy to assume that someone has everything figured out. People see the nice clothes, the luxury lifestyle, the television appearances, and the confidence, and they automatically assume everything is perfect. But the truth is that appearances can be deceiving. Behind the scenes, many people are dealing with challenges, making difficult decisions, and trying to figure things out just like everyone else. That is what made this moment feel so genuine. It was not about drama with the cast members. It was not about who said what, who offended who, or who showed up wearing the most expensive outfit. Instead, it focused on something much more important. Financial reality. Kelli sitting down with Johnny was significant because she was having a conversation that many people eventually have to face at some point in their lives. Sometimes you need someone who is willing to look at the numbers objectively and tell you the truth, even if it is not what you want to hear. Money does not care about status, reputation, or appearances. The numbers either work or they do not. The math either makes sense or it doesn't. As the discussion shifted toward expenses, responsibilities, and long-term financial planning, it became clear that Kelli was facing a period of adjustment. And honestly, there is nothing unusual about that. Life changes constantly. What worked financially 5 years ago may not work today. What made sense during one chapter of your life may not fit the next chapter. One of the biggest topics during the conversation was the cost of maintaining a certain lifestyle. When someone becomes accustomed to living a particular way, changing those habits can be extremely difficult. It is not just about money. It is about identity, comfort, and the expectations people place on themselves. Many people become emotionally attached to the lifestyle they have built. They associate success with certain homes, certain vehicles, certain vacations, and certain spending habits. So when circumstances change, letting go of those things can feel like losing a part of yourself. But in reality, adjusting your lifestyle is not failure. It is often one of the smartest and most responsible decisions a person can make. What I appreciated about Kelli's situation is that it highlighted an important lesson that many people need to hear. There is a major difference between looking successful and actually being financially secure. Those two things are not always the same. Someone can drive an expensive car, wear designer clothes, live in a beautiful home, and still be struggling financially behind closed doors. On the other hand, someone else may choose a more modest lifestyle while quietly building long-term stability and financial freedom. That distinction matters because too many people spend years trying to maintain an image that no longer serves them. They continue spending money they should be saving because they are worried about how others will perceive them. They become trapped by appearances. Kelli's conversation showed the danger of that mindset. Luxury can be enjoyable, but luxury without stability can quickly become stressful. A beautiful home loses its appeal if every monthly payment creates anxiety. Expensive possessions stop feeling rewarding when maintaining them becomes a burden. Another factor that makes Kelli's journey relatable is that it is connected to life after divorce. Divorce changes more than just a relationship. It often changes finances, responsibilities, routines, priorities, and long-term planning. When two people share financial responsibilities for years and then suddenly have to operate separately, the adjustment can be significant. Income changes, expenses change, financial goals change. What once felt manageable may suddenly require a completely different approach. That is why I can understand why this transition would be difficult. Starting over is never easy. Rebuilding rarely happens overnight. It requires patience, discipline, and honesty about your current situation. But this is also where financial decision making becomes even more important. Kelli now has to separate the lifestyle she previously had from the lifestyle that makes the most sense for her present circumstances. That is not giving up. That is adapting. Too many people refuse to adapt because they are worried about how downsizing or making changes might look to others. They become more concerned with protecting an image than protecting their future. But the truth is that protecting your future should always come before impressing strangers. The reality is that every decision Kelli makes now affects more than just herself. She has family responsibilities to consider. Stability becomes a priority. Security becomes a priority. Long-term planning becomes a priority. Sometimes being responsible means making choices that are uncomfortable in the short term, but beneficial in the long term. Maybe the dream house has to wait. Maybe the luxury purchase is not the smartest move right now. Maybe rebuilding the foundation has to come before expanding the lifestyle. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, those difficult decisions are often what separate people who eventually recover and thrive from those who remain stuck trying to maintain appearances. Another reason I enjoyed this storyline is because it feels realistic. Reality television often focuses on extravagance, competition, and showing off wealth. While those elements can be entertaining, they do not always reflect everyday life. What viewers saw with Kelli and Johnny was something much more authentic. It was a conversation about accountability, responsibility, and making practical choices. Those moments may not generate as much drama as an argument at a dinner party, but they often provide the most valuable lessons. Johnny's role in the conversation was also important because he was not simply telling Kelli what she wanted to hear. He appeared focused on helping her understand the reality of the situation. Sometimes the most valuable person in your life is not the one who constantly agrees with you. It is the one who is willing to be honest when honesty is necessary. Everyone needs someone who can say, "This is where you are right now. These are the challenges you need to address. These are the adjustments that need to be made." That kind of guidance may feel uncomfortable in the moment, but it can prevent much bigger problems later. Kelli's stories also serves as a reminder of why financial independence matters so much. No matter how successful someone becomes, understanding your finances remains essential. Life can change unexpectedly. Relationships change. Careers change. Circumstances change. One moment everything feels stable, and the next moment you find yourself rebuilding from the ground up. That does not mean people cannot enjoy nice things. It simply means that balance is important. There is nothing wrong with luxury when it exists alongside financial security. Problems arise when maintaining an image becomes more important than maintaining stability. The encouraging part is that Kelli appears willing to have these difficult conversations. Many people avoid financial discussions because they are uncomfortable. Some ignore warning signs until problems become impossible to manage. But acknowledging the situation, seeking advice, and creating a plan are often the first steps toward long-term success. That is why this storyline feels less like a setback and more like the beginning of a rebuilding chapter. Kelli appears to be reevaluating her priorities, examining her finances, and determining what kind of future she wants to create moving forward. And honestly, some of the greatest comeback stories begin exactly this way. They begin when someone stops pretending everything is perfect. They begin when someone accepts reality, makes adjustments, and commits to building something stronger than before. At the end of the day, this moment between Kelli and Johnny was about much more than money. It was about growth. It was about responsibility. It was about independence. It was about learning how to navigate a completely different phase of life after major changes. Most importantly, it was about understanding that true success is not measured by what people see on the outside. True success is having the courage to face reality, make smart decisions, and build a stable future that can withstand whatever challenges come next. Because looking successful and being secure are two very different things. And the people who understand that difference are often the ones who create lasting success in the long run.